So, Labour had a very big announcement this morning, which I am actually somewhat quite for. And this was the idea that there is going to be a big public rollout of AI. And I think that is actually quite good. Now, I get a lot of the fear of people of using AI, that AI is going to sort of replace them in jobs or things like that. But having sort of used AI myself, having done a lot of looking into it and seeing how it's sort of done basically really nothing to change my industry, even though a lot of people were saying it was going to sort of replace us in our industry. um it's done absolutely nothing of the sort. In fact, when I look back into sort of my own sort of use of AI, I've been using AI unknowingly for quite some time. I've used Grammarly for the longest time because I find it just such a good spelling corrector for someone like me, and for someone especially with dyslexia. You know, as far as I'm concerned, a comma, I might as well be like someone with a machine gun and just spray the page with them. I'm not really sure or really remember where they go, but I'm sure I'll get one right. However, if I use something like Grammarly, it has AI built into it. It learns from you. It goes, okay, yeah, uh, I'll understand your acronyms. I'll remember sort of when you use get words wrong. I'll look at sort of what you're saying and like the word in this sort of context, so I know I'm selecting the right one for you. And I'm like, that is fantastic. That is generally a fantastic use of AI because it has really, really helped me for like the past couple of years since I discovered it, since I sort of really started using it. And I think rolling out AI into looking at how AI can go into education, you know, how can an AI, for example, help a teacher? Can, instead of maybe a teacher maybe marking something, maybe it's the AI that marks it and then gives a readout saying, this question wrong, and this and this and this. So there's something there that that an AI could help with. And this is, I think, again, where this needs to be looked at. Where can AI be inserted to help people, to improve, help improve their job, improve their sort of productivity, that basically maybe like the most mundane task that they have to do every day, but it like takes a long time, that you could just give to an AI and it's just done. Right? That's the type of use we should really be looking at for AI. We shouldn't really be scared of it. And again, I understand. The fear of other people have with AI, that it's going to sort of take your job. It's going to you know I don't know, mainly basically steal your job. Um, but machines and machinery has been doing that, going all the way back to not only just the industrial revolution, but even before that. So this is just how sort of even progress has worked. Um, and we have adapted constantly. The job market's changed, is adapted every single time. And you want to look at one of the biggest things that people see is accountants. You know, uh, this month, if you know anyone who's an accountant, this month they're going to be flat out constantly, every single day. This week doing end of reports. Where can maybe an AI come in and actually help an accountant? Because AI loves like being given a rule book and knowing, sort of following that rules from that rule book. At that point, I could see AI not actually stealing jobs from accountants, but actually really helping accountants in a lot of ways, I think. um and how we should sort of do that. So I do think this is a very sort of discussion that needs to be had. Like, where is AI best used to help workers in jobs where it can help? And that's where we need to be looking at it. Research, and I think in the NHS would be a fantastic use of it. Everyone's seen, I think, the photo of like an AI discovered breast cancer, like long, long before anyone sort of could notice it. So again, really good use of AI. How can maybe a doctor use AI, or systems where maybe a doctor can give something to an AI and it helps in that regard? Because again, it keeps that human element still, but all the doctor is doing is he's using AI to help him achieve that diagnosis. And bear in mind, if you're terrified of a doctor using an AI, doctors use all kinds of machinery and stuff constantly to help diagnose stuff. So why should you be so scared of an AI? And again, civil servants, a mundane routine task that is done by civil servants, but it takes time. Maybe an AI could do that and it would save or even free up who knows how much time for civil servants to focus on other things. um so there's a ton of I think massive areas of opportunity. Now, one of the big things is I think people are right to be skeptical. After all, not too long ago, we had the whole post office scandal, which again based purely around the belief that this technology was completely infallible. And I think that is something that we should be careful of. I think people are right to be skeptical about that, because the belief on that was on that piece of technology that was absolutely infallible, could not be been going wrong at all. It must be that these postmasters had been stealing money, and of course, turned out not true at all. It was the system itself that was wrong. It was the Horizon system. That's what was wrong. You know, we should absolutely be, questioning of and skeptical of technology, but we shouldn't be too afraid either to use it where it can have a lot of clear advantages. I think there are a lot of clear advantages where we can use AI. And one of the things I think Labour, and I really do hope they take some notice of this, because I criticized Sunak for this. I think this is something we could do, because one of the big announcements is they talked about DeepMind. DeepMind created here in the UK, but isn't a UK business anymore. It's an American company. That in itself, and sort of keeping UK companies UK and owned by sort of you're belonging sort of to the UK in that way. Well, that's going to take a different type of regulation to do. I think that is interesting. They bring that up, but that is something that they should absolutely look into. I've talked briefly before. Maybe I'll have to do a video about it at some point, about what happened recently in Sheffield about losing a robot factory to an American venture capitalist firm. They just went yoink, you're ours now, and they moved to the US. Again, we lost out on that. Again, going back to sort of Rishi Sunak, when the Chips Act came out, there were a lot of chip companies going, why are we staying in the UK? There's all these subsidies over there in America. Why aren't we going there? And Rishi Sunak gave this basically paltry amount to these companies as subsidies in an effort to try and get them stay. It didn't work. It didn't succeed. However, as I often point out, Japan gave that exact same amount of money, but instead of offering it out as subsidies, they built a chip factory, or shall we say, are building. I think it's still being built in Japan, and that is a chip factory, and that would be really good for the UK industry and the UK economy, because we need chips, we need processors, and having a chips factory in the UK would be very, very beneficial to the UK economy. So doing something like that would be fantastic. Again, for the exact same price that Rishi Sunak tried to bribe, chip companies to stay in the UK, you could build a chip factory. Like I say, I think following that idea is fantastic. And I've always said this: when another country does something well, there's no harm in copying and pasting what they do. I think what Japan did in regards to that, I think was very, very good. I think we should do the exact same here with that. But let me know what you think to this. Do you think it is, as the announcement was, that it's going to be now mainlined into the UK's veins? Again, I do think that it opens up a big area for opportunity. There's a lot of potential for it to be brought into areas to really help, I think, drive productivity and to really help a lot of people really do their jobs. There's this whole idea that AI is going to sort of replace people completely. Um, yeah, AI said a lot. They said a lot about that in our in our business in my industry. That has never ever happened. Um, so you always still need that human element regardless. So let me know what you think down below. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.